Good morning, dear students. Let's move on to the next part of our first chapter, which is nutrition in plants. We have learned about autotrophic nutrition. Today we are going to learn about heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And under this category, we'll see the different types of this heterotrophic nutrition. That is, we will learn about parasites, saprophytes, insectivores, and about a special relationship, that is symbiosis. We have seen autotrophic nutrition, where the green plants can synthesize their food by their own through a process called photosynthesis. There are organisms like animals, some bacteria, non-green plants like fungi. They cannot prepare their food by their own. They are directly or indirectly dependent on green plants for their food. So such organisms are called heterotrophs, and their mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. If we split the word heterotroph, we'll get two words, that is hetero and troph. The meaning for hetero is different or other, and for that troph is nutrition. So if we combine both the meanings, we'll get that those organisms which get their nutrition from a different mean rather than synthesizing the food by their own are called heterotrophs. So to define heterotrophic nutrition, we can say heterotrophic nutrition is a kind of nutrition where an organism depends on other plants or animals for its nutrition. Parasites. A parasite is an organism that lives in or on the body of another organism and derives its nutrition from it. And the organism from which it derives its nutrition is called the host. Now in case of parasitic plants, the examples are Cuscuta and Mistletoe. Now here you can see two terms, one is total parasite and the other is partial parasite. And I think that you are familiar with the meanings of these two words, that is total and partial. So in case of total parasite, the plant is totally dependent on another plant for its food and nutrition. While in case of partial parasite, the plant is partially dependent on its host plant for its food and nutrition. Now let's see how. Let's take the case of total parasite, that is Cuscuta. Cuscuta is commonly called as dodder or amarbale. It has very lean and thin stem. It can't stand straight, and that's why it is found like a bush on other trees. Here you can see it is giving a bushy appearance. It has got almost no chlorophyll, and since it is not having chlorophyll, it cannot prepare its food through photosynthesis. So it is dependent on its host plant for its food. And since it cannot stand straight in the soil, it requires water and minerals from the soil. So for that, it sends root-like structures into the stem or the roots of the host to absorb water, minerals and nutrients from it. So in this way, it is totally dependent on its host plant for its food, and thus it is called a total parasite. Now let's take the case of Mistletoe. Mistletoe is green in color. It has got green leaves, so it does not require food from its host plant. It can prepare its food by its own, but it sends root-like structures to the stem or branches of its host plant and absorbs water and minerals from the host. So for water and mineral, it is depending on the host plant. That's why it is called a partial parasite. Those organisms which get their nutrients from dead and decaying material are called saprophytes, and their mode of nutrition is called saprophytic nutrition. And the example for saprophytes are mushroom, yeast, fungi, etc. You might have observed small umbrella-like structures growing on the logs of wood during the rainy season. These are called mushrooms. The picture is there. They are looking like small umbrellas. So mushroom is a fungus and its mode of nutrition is saprophytic. Many varieties of mushrooms are edible, while there are some varieties which are poisonous. How do they grow on such dead plants and their organic matter? They grow because of the spores present in the air. Their spores remain present in the air, and under favorable conditions, they grow in such areas. So what should be their favorable condition? As I have said, rainy season. Moisture. Moisture is their favorable condition. They grow in the damp areas. So this is the example of saprophytic mode of nutrition, that is mushroom, yeast, fungi. These all are non-green plants and they depend on dead organic matter for their nutrition. Have you ever seen or heard of plants eating animals? No, but there are some plants which feed on insects, and such plants are called insectivorous plants. And the example of such plants are pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, and there are many more. But I have taken pictures of two, that is of pitcher plant and of Venus flytrap. If you can observe the pictures, you can see that both the plants are green in color. It means that both of them are having chlorophyll pigment, that is, they can synthesize their food by their own. But then why they are trapping insects? They are trapping insects or they are eating insects because they are found in such soil where there is deficiency of certain important nutrients. To fulfill that deficiency, they trap insects and digest. Now if we see the structure of a pitcher plant and if we compare it with a leaf, we will see that this portion is the leaf stalk. This portion means the pitcher is the modified lamina of the leaf and the lid is formed by the leaf apex. Now let's see the mechanism of a pitcher plant. A pitcher plant has leaves that are modified to look like a pitcher or a large jug. The pitcher has a liquid at the bottom and this liquid attracts the insects towards the plant. When the insects comes and sits at the mouth of this pitcher plant, the lid closes and it is moved down towards the bottom. When the insect tries to come out of the pitcher, it fails. Why? Because of the presence of number of hair on the inner side of the pitcher. These hair are sticky and they are pointed downwards. Then the insect is digested by the plant's digestive juices. The other example is of Venus flytrap. It has also modified leaves and its leaves or the lamina, they form two different lobes. And these lobes are having pointed structures, spiny structures. The lamina on each side of the midrib is modified into a lobe. When an insect sits on the inside of a lobe, it triggers a mechanism that closes both the lobes. It is closed so quickly that the insect fails to come out and the trapped insect is then digested and absorbed. Symbiosis is a relationship between two organisms where both the organisms are getting benefited from each other. It is a mutual relationship. Now the example for symbiotic relationship is lichen and Rhizobium bacterium. In lichen, the two organisms are the blue-green algae and fungus. About fungus, you know that it is a non-green plant. It cannot synthesize its food by its own. So it is dependent on algae for its food. Because algae is a green plant, it can synthesize its food. But it depends on fungus for water and nutrients. So algae is preparing food for the fungus, and fungus is absorbing water and nutrients from the plant. Other example for symbiosis is Rhizobium bacterium. Rhizobium bacterium is found in the root nodules of leguminous plants. Leguminous plants are those plants whose seeds are having two cotyledons, like all the pulses, peas, beans, etc. Root nodules are small compartments or small nodes on the roots of these plants. These Rhizobium bacterium live in these root nodules, and how they benefit the root? These Rhizobium bacterium convert the complex form of nitrogen into simpler form, which is easily absorbed by the roots. So in this way, both of them are benefiting each other. Both of them are getting equally benefit from each other, and therefore they are showing a mutual relationship. So this type of relationship is called symbiosis. This finishes this section of your chapter 1. Read the chapter and go through it. Thank you.